Welcome back to Chaos Corner, live to tape from the bunker, 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Here at Chaos Corner at Chaos Headquarters, fans, thanks for being here. We have a lot of news. We have an unbelievable show coming up here on Chaos Corner. We review last night's unbelievable pay-per-view AEW Revolution from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Now, fans, if you were here yesterday and throughout the weekend, you noticed that I did an AEW Dynamite review, an AEW Rampage review, and then, of course, the big preview show I put up yesterday for AEW Revolution last night. Now, you're not going to want to miss it. Come and subscribe here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. Follow me on all social media platforms, and you know what they are. In real time on Twitter, at Big Daddy G.O.C., and the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. On Instagram, it's the Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, there's two accounts. That's right, there's two. J Brony, I understand, J Brony, Jabroni, and Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Follow me on Gitter, Gab, Truth Social, Rumble. I cover it all in the IWC because it's me, the G.O.C., your old buddy, back down here in the bunker. Fans, I'm going to go from pillar to post and coast to coast and border to border, from 95 to 91 across 84. You get it, right? Revolution was a gas last night, including the 0-hour pre-show. We're going to cover it all. We're going to be here for at least anywhere from 30 minutes to perhaps an hour. I got to cover a 4-hour show here on the podcast. I didn't want to do it last night because everybody and their brother and their mother and their uncle's cousin and your sister's ass, and everybody was doing their review shows. Thanks for being here on Chaos Corner. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, because I tell it like it is. Don't go anywhere. All right, fans, we're back here in the bunker with Chaos Corner. I have to say, the pay-per-view AEW Revolution was well worth the money spent last night to watch the program. You see, I'm wrapped in chains, and if you read the bio and you know my history, this is where I belong. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Grab a beverage. It's Monday, the beginning of the week. We have a lot of wrestling coming up this week. As I said, I covered the, whatever you want to call it, Dynamite and Rampage, the lead-in, the go-home shows, so to speak, for Revolution. Again, I haven't been impressed with Dynamite or Rampage over these last bunch of weeks. The storylines have been all over the place. The talent has been all over the place. Who's working, who's not working. So there's been a lot. I'm as confused as a baby at Hooters when it comes to AEW lately. But it all came together, and one thing you can guarantee when it comes to TK and AEW, when they have their pay-per-view, and they only have about 4 per year, which is the way to do it, you can always count on it to be an unbelievable event, highly entertaining, whether the matches leading into it, the go-home shows and all that make sense or not, or the storylines weren't matching up, or they didn't give it enough time for long-term booking, which seems to be the catchphrase for everyone here in 2023, March of 2023 already. There's a lot of crazy things going on out there in the world. We understand that. So thanks for being here as my stress reliever, and hopefully I can give something back to you here in the opening monologue for Chaos Corner. Remember this. You can't get to where you want to go to, or even where you are, unless you recognize and understand where you were. I get it. I said it on the last podcast. There's almost 2,000 videos here on the Guardian of Chaos YouTube channel. Go back and check it out, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I cover everything from the pay-per-views to live-to-tape watch-alongs to historical previews, book reviews, preview shows, review shows. I cover it all from the WWE to AEW to the NWA, Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, MLW. There isn't anything that I don't cover. AAA, CMLL. And of course, my home at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Don't you dare miss it. And I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Let's get on to the 4th annual AEW Revolution. You see, now that we're back down here in the bunker, we have adjusted the lighting. We do have a new adjustment on the cameras, and we've even added some music down here in the bunker. Non-copyright, strictly for a parody entertainment. I don't own anything music, non-copyright for those purposes. You could hear it in the background, right? 0 hour. We opened up with the pre-show, and I'm going to cover everything from pillar to post here. Fans, I got a whole bunch of notes to go through. As I said, grab a snack, a beverage, a brunch, lunch, breakfast, whatever it is you want to call it. And we're going to kick back and we're going to go through everything. You know that I moderated late last night for the #1 fucking podcast on YouTube, and that would be JD from New York and Off the Script, along with his partner and sidekick for AEW, the Chi-Town Smark Jesse, and of course, the OG of podcasts, my good buddy in the sit-down, Don Tony. So I'm moderating those different channels during the program, so you know I've been very busy, but I was able to sit back last night in the lounge upstairs at Chaos Corner and view Revolution and the pre-show 0 hour. So I'm going to give you my thoughts. In total, between the pre-show, I'll give you all the tidbits of information, and the main card, there were 9 total matches. Started off with the pre-show around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Went off the air about 11:40 Eastern Standard Time, 11:40 p.m. That's the way you do it, though, in the future. 7, 8 matches, bang, get them out, get them in, a nice pay-per-view, 4 hours, well worth the money and the investment. That's the way I like having it done. We're 6 minutes, 7 minutes in here on the opening monologue from Chaos Corner, live to tape. Wait! I'm live. You guys understand that, right? I am live while I'm taping this. Let that sink in. Okay, 0 hour, AEW Revolution, the 4th annual, as I said, the pre-show. We're going to go back and forth with the different hosts. You had RJ City backstage doing the interviews, and you had Renee Paquette, Moxley Good out in the arena doing interviews. Before Revolution, on the pre-show, bringing out certain talent and certain stars, and obviously Renee and RJ City, especially Renee, ran through the whole card for Revolution during the 1 hour pre-show. Her certain guests, Renee had everybody on. Well, we'll go in chronological order. We open up 0 hour with RJ City interviewing Pockets, a.k.a. Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen backstage, talking about the upcoming 4-way tag team title match. Where RJ City comes in for this pay-per-view, I don't know. He's good enough, I guess. I mean, I know he's quite the celebrity on YouTube and all that, but RJ City was chosen as backstage interviewer. From there, we go to Renee Paquette, Moxley Good, in the arena, out in the arena with the fans, previewing the show. There was one hell of an echo, I can say that. There was a big echo in the arena on YouTube, on the live broadcast, because 0 hour was on YouTube for free before we got to the main card. Renee Paquette in a all pink suit, looking rather jazzy, a little easy on the eyes, but who is she more qualified than anybody else? And nothing against Renee. She's professional. She's been around. WWE, The Bump, AEW. You know, she's Dean Ambrose's wife. John Moxley. You get it, right? But way too much involvement. She's professional. She's good at what she does. But I just don't understand the privilege of, I guess when you're in a company and you're one of the boys, that's what happens. You guys get it, right? So we go to Renee in the arena, and she's talking to the Elite's homeboy there, Dirty Don Callis. The Hand, the invisible hand, if you will, Don Callis, who's talking about the upcoming Trios title match between the Elite, you know, Twinkle Toes McFingerbang and the Harley Boys. I'm just quoting Cornette. It's not my own. I just like to say it, Twinkle Toes McFingerbang. So they're talking about that against the House of Black and what's coming up in the trios match. So what they're doing here, and I like the format. It was good enough. It was entertaining. Kind of felt like a WWE show, how they do the pre-show. You never had that in pro wrestling back in the day, but I guess it adds something to the program, an extra hour, if anything. So it's just to hype it up. You got to hype the show. So they're going back and forth between RJ City backstage, Renee Paquette in the arena. Again, it is what it is for a pre-show. So, as I said, RJ with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen backstage. Then Renee with Don Callis in the arena. They go to the booth where you have Sockface, Excalibur, my man Taz, and Tony Schiavone in the booth, the three-man booth for Revolution. Now, I get it with Schiavone. Back in the 80s and 90s, he was the man. He had his plays. The Sting! Whatever he says nowadays. He has his little quips, but come on, Tony. Really? So the three-man booth with Excalibur, Taz, and Tony Schiavone, they give a couple of comments welcoming everybody to San Francisco. And I guess it's not the Cow Palace, and the Chase Center is different where the Golden State Warriors play. I don't watch the fucking NBA anyway. Oh, who does? Woke NBA. Bullshit. That's another story for another time. And then they go to my boy who mentioned me in Chapter 5 in his book, Best Seat in the House from the WWE, and perhaps the best ring announcer in the world, Justin Roberts. What a smile that guy has, right? What a voice he has, the pipes, the golden smog, if you will. So it's nice to see my old buddy Justin Roberts there. I met Justin when he was 19 years old, and he was called Justin Price when we were working for the World Wrestling Zone, okay, with Heaven and Hell, the twin brothers, the Gligorovics, unbelievable salt of the earth people, and then on to Dale Gagne and the AWA superstars of wrestling, and even Super Clash 3D, and then even got Justin Roberts booked as a guest on Jerry Springer. That's right, yours truly. So in his book, Justin talks about the night where I was with Tough Tommy Capone against the legendary hardcore icon, Terry Funk, at the Hammond, Indiana Civic Center. So Justin and I go back like 8 tracks. We go back like a recliner. So it's great to see Justin Roberts. And again, I've told you my history with Taz. I just recently had the Mohegan Sun. I'm repeating. Excuse me. And then, of course, back to our days in the middle 90s, working certain events and even seeing him at the Sting in New Britain back in the middle 90s, towards the later 90s with Taz and Bigelow and Candido and everybody, and having a chance to work with Atlas and then all the ECW guys. Good memories, bro, back in the day. So we go to 7:12. Look at your clock. 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night. And we have the first match of the night on 0 Hour, the pre-show. It's them boys, Mark Briscoe, Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. R.I.P. Jay Briscoe, never far from our thoughts, brother. Hasn't been that long. No, he was watching. Mark Briscoe tags with the Lucha Brothers, Penta and Phoenix. One heck of a three-man team, along with Alex Abrahantes. You understand, right? And they take on Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes, which consist of Josh Woods and Tony Nese, along with Smart Mark Sterling. So we have two managers. It's nice to see that in 0 Hour pre-show. Abrahantes with Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers, and Smart Mark with the Varsity Athletes and Ari Daivari in a trios match, which I call a six-man tag team match. Let's be honest, right? A good match to open up 0 Hour, and Mark Briscoe, give that man all the prayers and strength and stamina that you could imagine after losing his brother Jay in that horrible automobile accident not that long ago. And I guess Jay's family, his daughters and his wife, are doing much better now. Keep praying for that family and praying for yourselves and your own family in this day and age. And so that's good to see. And Mark Briscoe, man, a strong man of faith, and to be able to battle back through this. So I'll say that to say this. A very good match. Usually they have 2 or 3 bouts on the pre-shows, but for 0 Hour, one match, 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, trios match. Everyone in the ring to begin with. Apparently, there's no rules. That'll be the running theme here with the referees and AEW and the officials. No rules. You can be in the ring at multiple times. Nobody has to tag. They're not getting anybody out. I mean, what the fuck is going on with the officiating at AEW? It ruins it for the match. Because how you supposed to? Why even have a referee in there if you're not going to enforce some sort of rules? These aren't hard. These aren't Texas death matches or no rules, no disqualifications. They say there's no interference, and you'll see that as a theme as we go on. But it certainly didn't hold up. So whether it's Bryce Remsburg or the old bald skeleton-looking guy there, or Ref Aubrey, respect everybody that gets in the ring and their talent, no matter what capacity. Ring announcer, manager, valet, whatever it is, worker, talent, superstar. But come on, man. Can we follow the rules? No tag ropes, no nothing. This is 2023. I get it. I'm old school. The old man brand, the over 50 demo god. So that's what we have on 0 Hour. An excellent match. The 450 splash from Tony Nese off the top rope. One of the best in the business. As good as that bastard Pac. Speaking of that bastard Pac, where has he been lately? Wasn't he the man with the Lucha Brothers and their 6-man former trios tag team champions? Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Mark Briscoe. And as I said over the weekend on the certain shows that I did, whether it was Rampage or Dynamite, it had to take this for Warner Media and AEW and everyone, and the death of Jay Briscoe to get Mark Briscoe and the Briscoes finally on TV. Bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit. I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm still going to call fucking bullshit right now here on Chaos Corner. And yes, I have to put money in the tip jar for my granddaughter because I'm not supposed to be cussing. So I'm repenting for that now as we speak. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm emotional. You see the passion here, right? My over 50 years as a fan, as a scout, as an agent, as a historian, as a smark, as a mark. That's right, I said it, as a mark. And then my over 3 decades in the business as a pro wrestling manager, over 25 Hall of Famers, young lions, heroes, legends, current stars, including my work today in 2023 at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and of course a 2-time Hall of Famer, class of 2019 New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and class of 2020 in the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So if I say it, take it to the bank of watch over you. Do you get it? Do you understand? Not that you have to trust your money in the banks, but you get what I'm saying, right? I will say that to say this. The double teaming by the Lucha Brothers, we know how fantastic they are in Lucha Libre or even here. The elbow off the top rope from Mark Briscoe is unbelievable, and that's what led into the pin on R.A. Daivari. Beautiful double team maneuver by Penta and Phoenix on Daivari. Again, Josh Woods and Tony Nese, the varsity athletes, didn't really give a damn about them too much, seeing them on dark elevation, but two guys in great shape and unbelievable workers, the varsity athletes. I see a future for them in a bloated roster there, and we'll see what happens with the Lucha Brothers if they go back to that bastard Pac and maybe put Mark Briscoe in singles or keep Briscoe as their trios partner and maybe get that bastard Pac back in the singles division. Wouldn't mind seeing that either. So the bottom line is Briscoe pins Daivari, and in your 0 hour pre-show match, it's Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers over the varsity athletes and Ari Daivari. And even in the end, they gave Penta gave a beautiful spike DDT, I guess you would call it, on Smart Mark Sterling, who's from the greater New England tri-state Northeast area, the hotbed of pro wrestling here in the whole United States, perhaps the world. Yeah, I mumbled, but I'm going to say it now at 20 minutes in. You know what Bully Ray said to me? 2-time Hall of Famer Bully Ray, perhaps the greatest tag team wrestler of all time, busted open host, Busted Open Radio, currently still working for the NWA and Impact Wrestling. I mean, ECW legend, WWE. Give the Guardian of Chaos 5 spots, he'll fuck up 4 of them. I consider that to be a compliment coming from someone like Bully Ray. So you get the whole screw up and mess up. I have to say it every podcast. So a pretty impressive opening bout to get the crowd going. There in San Francisco, the crowd was hot all night. They really made the show. They were into every match from pillar to post, and we'll get onto that as we go on here in the podcast. I'm going to try to get us out of here in less than an hour. We go right into after Briscoe and Lucha Brothers go over on the varsity athletes and Ari Daivari. They do a double or nothing vignette promo package. Perfect timing, right? With the chains. You like how we go on here in the podcast. You know my background behind the walls. The chains on, now the chains breaking free. Like we're all going to break free from the bullshit in society. Stay strong in faith. I just throwing it out there. It's my channel. You don't like it, change it. So they go into the promo package for Double or Nothing. Perhaps the second biggest or maybe the biggest pay-per-view in AEW in their almost 4 years. You have All In, All Out, Revolution, Double or Nothing. So May 28th in Sin City, Double or Nothing is announced. And of course, the week leading up to it, I'm not sure of the dates, Rampage and Dynamite will be live from Vegas the week of Double or Nothing. Again, May 28th, Las Vegas. We go back to Renee Paquette in the arena, and then back to RJ City, back to back, belly to belly. No, I'm not John Sterling. It's almost baseball season, the World Baseball Classic. I just want to throw it out there. I'm a 50-year Mets fan. And so now RJ City is backstage with Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, Daniel Garcia, and Angelo, the remaining members of JAS. And are your nipples hard? Are my nipples hard? You want to touch my nipples? That's what Daddy Magic said. It's about the nipples. I mean, what are they talking about there? RJ City with the man bun and the glasses. And I get it. So they're going back and forth there here on the pre-show. Again, reminds me of what the WWE does. I guess it's a nice little distractions for the fans, and when you open up a pay-per-view and you want to start it. But I get it. It certainly couldn't hurt the product, right? And then we go back to RJ City once again backstage, and he's with Toni Storm, who now, obviously, fans, you know what's going on. Toni went from the Toni Storm, very easy on the eyes. What a beautiful lady, and certainly an excellent talent. And a good grappler. She was the ultimate face at one time when she came in from the WWE, big star in NXT and NXT UK, and she came over and was the AEW interim champion. There was big feud with Thunder Rosa, so on and so forth. And boy, have things really changed. And with Britt Baker and all that, and Jamie Hayter, the current champion, Toni Storm is now heel. Do we like that? Do we don't like that? So she's interviewed backstage with RJ City and trying to do the whole NWO thing, or I don't know what, if they're trying to put the WWE ladies together, Saraya, a.k.a. Paige, Toni Storm, and as we go on, you're going to see with Ruby Soho, and what is this, the NWO, Too Sweet for Life? What are we doing here with the women? So she takes out the green spray paint, Toni Storm, and spray paints RJ City's back. This leather pleather jacket with an L for loser. So that's the new angle they're going up with there. Maybe they're trying to separate AEW female talent and the ex-WWE gals. Maybe. I'm getting ahead of myself because Toni Storm, heel, teaming up with Saraya, who's now, again, as useless as tits on a bowl, if you ask me. I'm just about what she brings and how much you sign her contract for, TK. I'm just telling it like it is to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then Ruby Soho later on, and I'm not giving any spoilers, she's going to turn and become heel, and they're all going to be in the faction. It's going to be Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker and Reby and whoever else they decide to hang out with. And Jamie Hayter is unbelievable. And then it's going to be the WWE gals. So remember that here as we're on 0 hour, the pre-show. I may have to break this up into 2 segments. Do the pre-show, do 0 hour, get all the news and notes out of the way, and then come back for a second podcast here at Chaos Corner and just cover strictly Revolution. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, make this an hour and a half, lose your attention. So I might put, content is king. So I may put 0 hour pre-show up before we get into Revolution. But don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. No one else gives you information like this, experience like this. And then, of course, mix in who's here and who's your host and what we're doing. Does it get any better than this? Not any better than anyone else. Just different. That's what we've always said here at Chaos Corner. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's get the subscribers up, will you please? So we talk about Toni Storm. She's talking about what's going on later on with the ladies triple threat match for the title. Again, I said it on yesterday's shows, on the Dynamite Review, the Rampage, my preview show for Revolution. I don't like when there's 4 ways, 3 ways for the titles. It takes away from the match. Just my opinion of where I like to come from with emotional investment, storytelling, ring psychology, bringing people back, putting asses in seats. You don't have to put everybody on every show. You just don't. So we go back to Renee Paquette. Moxley good. I know that's getting old, and I'll stop soon. She's back in the arena. Again, the fucking echo. You think with all the money they have, they can get it a little bit better. I just got to nitpick. I got to complain about something, because overall, this pay-per-view, I'll give it an 8 out of a 10. And that's tough coming from me. 7.5, 8 out of 10. It was a solid pay-per-view. And if I almost didn't watch this one, I almost didn't plunk down the cash for this, but I'm glad that I did. And if you didn't, go back and check out the replay. It was well worth it. I'll say that to say this. So now Renee is in the arena with the good doctor, DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, who I happen to like as a worker. I like her gimmick. I like where she's going. She hasn't been in the ring. I think she's recovering from injury. So you could see the different guests and what they're trying to concentrate here on 0 Hour, the pre-show leading into Revolution. We already had RJ City with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. You had Renee with Don Callis, the Invisible Hand. You know, we went over the 6-man tag team match, the trios match, Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers, unbelievable. We talked about Double or Nothing coming up on May 28th. You know, Renee back in the arena and then throws it to RJ City. Again, that echo, I can still hear the echo now. And he's backstage with Menard, Garcia, and Angelo talking about the JAS, where there's supposed to be no interference between Absolute Pretty Ricky Starks and the Ocho, the Wizard, Y2J, Chris Jericho. There's supposed to be no interference, but we're going to get on to that once we get on to the main show of Revolution from last night. So that's what they're talking about, the upcoming JAS and being banned from ringside, allegedly. Stick to the fucking rules, will you please? I know I'm nitpicking, but that's what I'm here for, to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So back in the arena, we talked about Britt Baker and Renee. Britt's talking about the ladies trio coming up. I realize I'm bouncing back and forth here and reviewing what 0 Hour was in the pre-show, so to speak, here from Chaos Corner. And then we go backstage once again, and RJ City is with the brass ring donut winner, whatever, the Book of Hobbs, Powerhouse Willie Hobbs, to talk about the TNT matchup tonight, well, actually last night at Revolution, between the TNT champion Samoa Joe, Pehaoi Melini Kane, Pupule Wiki Wiki Mahalo, and of course, the former champion Wardlow. That's right, Wardlow. And I said it before, I'll say it again, I'm repeating myself, revisiting it. You know that back on October 28th of this past year, had a chance to talk with and hang out and pick the brain of Taz and Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow and the AEW security guys and a bunch of great people, good people, great conversation, approachable men, and be able to talk to someone else equal in the business. What a night it was for AEW Rampage that night at the Mohegan Sun Casino. So to be able to talk to these guys, see them physically, exchange ideas, and to see them on TV, it's nice to know that we're brothers and we're from the same ilk, and you can understand what they're trying to do and what they've gone through and the connection. And that's what you get here. Most of these podcasters out here, whether it's Sean Ross, Sab, JD, Jesse, any of them, yeah, they announce, they do this, they take in sports, they lift, they do martial arts, whatever it is they do. And none of them have my experience as far as being in the fucking business. Silent Monster, Ryan Satt, and all these different people. I'll give Alvarez a little credit. At least he was in the ring. But the rest of these guys, Melch and all them, have you ever stepped in the ring, performed, walked through that curtain, been a manager, taken a bump, been a worker? Let that sink in on what you get here at Chaos Corner. So it's nice to hear from Powerhouse Hobbs, because they haven't, this whole Book of Hobbs, he's from the area, Oakland, the whole 9 yards, a bad man. Powerhouse Hobbs has a great future, as does Wardlow, and that generation. But they really took their time using this guy. So let's see what happens. So he's interviewed by RJ talking about the TNT matchup because this Wednesday on Dynamite, Powerhouse Hobbs will face the winner of Wardlow and Samoa Joe for that TNT title. And with MJF being your heavyweight champion right now, I don't see him losing it anytime soon. The faces really have nowhere to go. You better make a title that's going to be second in line to the heavyweight title, or a lot of these storylines and talent are going to be lost. Where do you go? And that's going to be a theme as I get onto the Revolution review. So don't go anywhere. We're 30 minutes in here. I didn't think this was going to take this long, but I want to break it down step by step and give you guys quality content here. The day after, when everybody flooded it in the IWC last night. So interesting interview. We go back to the outside arena. At least I like that concept of going backstage with RJ, back to the arena with Renee, and now she's out there with that crazy master, Sanjay Dutt, who really has made a name for himself coming back as acting like a lunatic when he was not a bad worker himself. With slap nuts and Zippy the Pinhead, Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal, but it's just Sanjay Dutt out there with Renee, and I use some of those terms because, I steal him from Cornette. He's on my top 5 podcasts that I listen to, obviously, along with JD and Off the Script and Don Tony and Cornette and the PWZ podcast with the Professor and Cheap Heat Productions with Maurice. I mean, those are the guys that I listen to, Comic Book Bob and Hollywood at the Wrestling Council. Those are the people that I get my information from. Yeah, so it is what it is, man. But I get my own informed opinion. You guys know that, right? That's what you get here. Everybody else, I listen, I check in on everyone just like when I was in the business. But then I put my own twist, and spin and my own thoughts on it. And that's what makes it chaos. The guardian of chaos. So I like the whole concept of going back and forth. A lot of people shit on the pre-show, and I understand that. I get it. It makes it for a longer night. But if you're in this business and this is what you're trying to do, you either have the passion for it and you can do it, or you don't. It's pretty simple. So I like that concept. So Sanjay Dutt obviously talking about the tag team match coming up between Slapnuts and Black Machismo against the Acclaimed, against Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. How the fuck, I said it on the other podcast, they ever got in there for this, I don't know. It makes it a cluster, the 4-way. And then, of course, the reigning AEW tag team champions, Austin and Colton, the Guns, who I think have a bright future. And boy, they're going to make good heels. I'm sure Scissor Meat Daddy Ass is going to be some... Hey, he's still making money, right? He's still getting over. I can't argue with that. So Sanjay was talking about that. Again, he's a little wacky. Give him credit. I'm not saying I like it, but I'm giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we go to a little new guy now jumping into this. When I say new guy, meaning just the whole pre-show was based around RJ City and Renee Paquette backstage and in the arena doing all the interviews with a certain talent and breaking down the storylines. They bring out our old boy, Tony Schiavone. That's what I mean by new by this in the whole AEW 0 hour pre-show before Revolution last night. Schiavone breaks down what was supposed to be a no-holds-barred type match weeks ago has now turned into a final burial, and Tony Schiavone breaks down the rules between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I don't know where Luchasaurus is, nowhere to be found, and no, I'll give you a spoiler, he didn't show up at the fucking pay-per-view Revolution either, so who knows what happened there. These guys just disappear and reappear and come back, and that's the issue in AEW, and you're starting to lose it a little bit there. I'm just telling you, I enjoy the product. So Schiavone breaks down the final burial match rules, and it's going to be with a casket, a la casket match. So you see how it changed, but you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you hear me on the Revolution review coming up right after this on that casket match, final burial match. Christian Cage, the ultimate heel. This is the Christian Cage I've been talking about for the last year. Since Outwork everybody came into AEW. Remember who said it first. And I don't want to be first like Don Tony says. I want to be fucking right. And I apologize for cussing because I don't have to do that to get over, but I get carried away and I get emotional. It's not for impact or anything like that, and I truly apologize. So here we are, Chaos Corner, live to tape from the bunker, reviewing 0 hour AEW Revolution. and all the different stages and vignettes and promos and packages that they're presenting before the big pay-per-view last night. As we move on, we wrap up the 0 hour pre-show from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Yay. What a shithole San Francisco is. I'm just going to say it. So we wrap up the pre-show, again, the 4th annual Revolution, back to RJ City, who's backstage, back to RJ City backstage. You see what I did there, right? And he's with Adam Cole, baby. Boom! Did I scare anybody? I don't know. So Adam Cole is backstage, and he's talking about the new show. And you remember that AEW Dynamite got 1 million people this last week on March 1st for Dynamite from the Cow Palace. You know, Roy Shire, big time wrestling. What history. The big announcement by TK was bringing out Adam Cole, who's been missing in action and injured and been out for months, to talk about the March 29th debut, right after Dynamite, of AEW All Access. And I guess Adam Cole and Britt Baker are going to be a big part of this. And this is becoming more like WWE program, but I get it. You're trying to get more eyes out there. And we know they started up Ring of Honor and the Ring of Honor Club, and you got to pay $9.99, and they got you paying for pay-per-views and this and that and streaming. And that's what it's all coming to, fans. They said this 10, 20 years ago, and here we are now. It's all about the money. Follow the money. So they duped everybody on Wednesday for Dynamite, but that's the big announcement and why RJ City brings out Adam Cole to talk about AEW All Access program, which will be on right after Dynamite, starting March 29th. So mark it on your calendar, your DVR, whatever it is that you want to do. And I will notice as they bounce back and forth in the arena, the Chase Center there in Frisco is jammed to capacity. I'll have to listen to Brandon Thurston and WrestleNomics, another podcast that I do listen to get the numbers, see what the live crowd was, the paid attendance. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of AEW Revolution. I believe it's going to be one of their bigger numbers as you look through the analytics. So we go back now to the arena after doing some more packages for AEW Revolution. And when I say packages, get your mind out of the gutter for all you reprobates out there in the crowd here of Chaos Corner. We now have Renee and RJ in the arena together. Again, still with that echo with the production to end 0 hour pre-show. So while they're trying to end up, and like again, it started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The trios match was at 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because you know I do it from pillar to post with the notes. And then they did all the promos and interviews and packages and review and stuff like that. It's 7:58 Eastern Standard Time now. And while RJ City and Renee are still trying to talk about and wrap up the last couple of minutes, you hear the old Oklahoma Sooner fight song, and they announce good old JR, Jim Ross, coming out and cuts them right off. And that was worth watching the whole pre-show itself, 0 hour before Revolution. It was pretty funny. So they intro JR, Jim Ross stepped right on him, cut him off, and that was fantastic. And which ends the pre-show 0 hour before we go into Revolution, and that's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, obviously. Go right to the start of Revolution with Excalibur, Taz, and JR in the booth, as I just said. So fans, thanks for being here. We made it in under 40 minutes. I described it from pillar to post and gave you all the nuances and everything that you would want to know from soup to nuts. So I'll be right back, and we're going to cover the full card, the full review, the results from Chaos Corner for AEW Revolution. Don't you dare miss it. Oh, come on back. We're far from done.